Abrams drives in a village full of Russians and opens fire. Russian hideout is torn to pieces by precise fire. A Bradley joins the battle and unleashes full power leveling Russian hideout to the ground. Meanwhile, Abrams takes another shot and finishes off Russian occupiers. Today we are going to look at the best moments of Western-supplied armored vehicles in the ongoing war. From Abrams tank rolling over Russian trenches to a single Leopard tank destroying the whole column of Russian vehicles. 3 Ukrainian Bradleys are deployed for an assault. They drive past the Russian defense lines. Bradley uses the smoke screen to prevent Russian strikes and advances at a full speed towards enemy positions. Bradley operator stops and aims directly at the Russian tree line. TOW anti-tank missile is fired at the Russian dugouts. As the missile flies, it unspools 2 thin wires from its rear. These wires are connected back to the launcher. It sends information through wires and makes this missile immune to jamming. Meanwhile, the battle continues as Bradleys advance closer to the Russian positions. 25mm Bushmaster gun is firing 200 rounds per minute, unleashing real hellfire at Russian positions. Bradley successfully suppressed the Russian infantry, allowing more forces to engage. The Ukrainian armored group keeps advancing closer to Russian positions. The operation is finished. Ukrainian Bradleys successfully leave the battlefield unharmed. They are ready to reload and come back for more. A Bradley was deployed to clear out the occupied village. First, the drone spots the ammunition depot and Ukrainian M777 open fire. As the sun goes down, Ukrainian armored group advances towards the village. A Bradley opens fire at Russian hideouts, penetrating the walls like butter. When the enemy is suppressed by fire, Bradley deploys Ukrainian troops to clear out the rest of the village and successfully leaves the battlefield. Now let's look at Bradley's armor capabilities. Russian troops spot the Bradley and open fire with a TGM missile. Direct strike hits the vehicle, but armor withstands the damage. Russians fire a second ATGM. A second missile hits the Bradley and vehicle stops. But most importantly, it saves lives of Ukrainian soldiers. Here are the results of the strikes. Only the tracks were damaged, the armor successfully withstood the impact, and the vehicle remained in almost perfect condition. This Russian APC was sent to the meat grinder assault, but Ukrainians deploy Bradley to counter Russian offense. Russians jump off in panic as the APC stops. The APC turns around, but it was already in Bradley's sight. Russian crew tries to escape quickly, but Ukrainian Bradley opens fire. Shells penetrate the armor, causing massive damage to the enemy APC. The Bushmaster gun slices through the Russian vehicle. The engine is hit and the APC is on fire. Now let's look at the infamous duel of a Ukrainian Bradley and a Russian T-90 tank. A battle begins when a Bradley drives right at the Russian tank. Ukrainians open fire at the enemy. Russian tank takes a shot, but it misses. Bradley manages to successfully escape. That's when the second Bradley rolls in and opens fire at Russian T-90. Non-stop fire from Ukrainian Bradley hits the Russian tank, damaging the optics and navigation systems. As the battle continues, Russian tank suffers more damage each second. As the result, turret started spinning on its own, and the Russian crew totally lost control over the tank. The adventures of T-90 come to an end when it uncontrollably drives into a tree and stops. A Russian BTR full of infantry is heading to Ukrainian positions, and Bradley opens fire. A close hit. The Russian vehicle is still on the move. Enemy vehicle stops to deploy an infantry. We can see more than 10 troopers jumping off. Russians tried to drive off as quickly as possible. A Ukrainian FPV drone was already too close. A direct hit and the vehicle stops. The second drone is on its way to destroy the target. Meanwhile, Ukrainian Bradley moves in to clear the Russian infantry. Bradley operators use destroyed Russian vehicle as cover and open fire. A Russian column was advancing when two front vehicles drive on mines. A Ukrainian Leopard opens fire at the occupiers. Russians leave their armored vehicles and run. Meanwhile, Leopard tank retreats and continues hunt on the rest of the column. A Russian hideout was spotted by intelligence drone. Ukrainian forces waste no time and deploy an Abrams tank. It moves closer to Russian positions and opens precise fire. Mission is successful, and Abrams leaves without even a scratch. And this tank is taking out Russian positions in occupied village. It's a British Challenger tank. After taking out the first building, Challenger turns around and heads to the next location. Ukrainian tank successfully clears the Russian positions and leaves the battlefield unharmed. Now let's look at the difference between the Western and Russian tanks. This Leopard was stopped and the ammunition catches fire. Despite that, Ukrainian crew managed to escape and remain unharmed. Now let's look what happens when the ammunition on Russian tank catches fire. Ukrainian Bradleys are heading to Russian positions. They open fire with the Bushmaster cannon and move closer to Russian positions. Russians use ATGM to target Ukrainian Bradleys. A direct hit, but the vehicle is on the move. Russians deploy FPV drones and target the second Bradley. Despite all the Russian efforts to stop the assault, Bradleys keep advancing forward. Ukrainian soldiers quickly move in the building. Meanwhile, Bradley is taking out Russian positions. A precise fire leaves Russians no chance to strike back, and when the mission is complete, Bradley successfully leaves the battlefield unharmed. A Russian tank was spotted within the mile of Ukrainian Bradley. Missile is fired. A precise hit leaves Russian tank no chance to survive. A dangerous mission is carried out by Ukrainian tank and Bradley. Vehicles advance alongside Russian troops and open fire. The tank suppresses Russian forces with precise fire supporting the Bradley. Meanwhile, Ukrainian troops are holding the important position just meters away from the Russians. Ukrainian artillery uses cluster munition to stop the Russian advance and win some time. Meanwhile, Bradley storms in and opens fire at Russians. Despite the Russians' effort to stop the Bradley, Ukrainian soldiers managed to evacuate. Thanks to the enormous efforts of Bradley's crew, this mission is successful and Ukrainian heroes are saved.